Your goddess has no dominion here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, at long last, a trailer review for Avatar, Fire and Ash, the third film in James Cameron's five-part Avatar saga. It's been a long wait for this trailer. We've waited quite a few months to get this, because we obviously heard that last year that they were going to delay this movie till this year because they wanted to make it better and they needed more time to finesse things. And I totally respect that. And I'm all for waiting if it's going to mean a better result. I love the Avatar films, so if you're not a fan of Avatar, you're not going to enjoy this video. So sorry, but I am a very big fan of the films. I really enjoyed the first movie. I think it's very underrated. I get where people are coming from with the plot and everything like that, but I still think it's wonderful. And I think the second one is actually even better, personally. So now we're on to the third one. So let's examine the trailer when we begin. So we're going to start by saying that the opening shots of this trailer are in the Hallelujah Mountains with Loak, and I think it's supposed to be Neteyam, although you can't really tell who it is. Neteyam being the eldest of the Sully kids, who, spoiler alert, sadly perished in the previous movie. So there must be some kind of flashback. And then we cut to Loak and Saraya riding an elu towards the wrecked dragon boat, which they had the final fight on in The Way of Water. So presumably they've gone to get Neytiri's bow, because later in the trailer we see the bow sort of being fixed, as far as I know, and then we see her using it. So presumably it's the same bow and it's not a new one. I think that's an interesting thing that they're doing there, and maybe it's also it's a character beat thing, obviously, which would be interesting. And then we forward to Kiri looking at one of the woodland sprites. So I think Kiri, maybe there might be more emerging with her powers in this film. And then Loak and Saraya are knelt down in the sand preparing the bow, and she says the strength of the ancestors is in here, like, and she's holding his chest, like in his heart, presumably. So presumably Loak is kind of stepping up because his brother has passed away. So he's stepping up to take on more responsibility with his family, and he's trying to, I guess, come of age is the word I'd use. I mean, again, I'm just speculating based on what we see in this trailer. And right off the bat, the visuals, as you would expect, to look absolutely incredible and unlike anything else that we've ever seen. And for some reason, Cameron manages to make them look even more photorealistic than the first two. I mean, the second one was still a good improvement on the first one visually, but in the close-ups, the attention to detail, the textures of the faces, it looks as though you could have shot it in live action. That's how good it is. And I mean that, I really do. And I think progressively with each film, it seems to have got slightly more textured in the photorealism. So impressive stuff, Cameron. Then we get epic shot of the Wind Traders, like these like floating alien, almost kind of stingray-like creatures that are almost being held up by these gigantic balloon things. I'm not entirely sure how to describe it. And Kiri is inside one of the Wind Traders vehicle things. I don't know what you call them, but she's inside one of the things looking up, admiring it. I mean, they are epic. And we get a little bit of a glimpse of David Thewlis, but it's not very much. There's been an image released of him since the trailer, and he is going to be a more prominent role in the fourth and the fifth Avatar films, which will be the last films. But yeah, again, right off the back, epic stuff. And it's a new group of people on the planet that we haven't seen yet. So I like the expansion of the world, that we're seeing different cultures, different clans. And I know that to some people that might get repetitive, but for me, I think it's fascinating because the planet is so huge, it's so vast, and we're constantly traveling across the planet in this series, which I think is incredible. So far, it's doing very well to capture my interest. And then we get a shot of Quaritch walking up a mountain, and in the background, there's this volcano. Very much something like what you'd see in Lord of the Rings with the Mount Doom mountain and the smoke coming out of it. And we know he's on his way to the Ash people, the Mon Quan, where he seems to be making a deal with Varang. We don't quite know what is happening yet, but we do know that he gets the makeup later in the trailer, hence the thumbnail for this video, the badass shot of him wearing the makeup, ready to go to war. So presumably he's trying to manipulate them into helping him defeat Jake and Neytiri and their kids, presumably. And also, there's something going on with Spider in this trailer, which we'll get to later. We see more of Pajak as well. We see a nice close-up of his eye, and we see a new Tolkien called the Matriarch, and we still see some of the Metkayina characters as well. So it's nice to know that they're going to be in it as well. And this Matriarch Tolkien has rings inside it, which is kind of interesting. So we'll see what that all means. But again, the detail is astounding. And then there's Spider and Kiri in the forest, Loak and Soraya, with the chin touching, which is really sweet. And it looks like the romantic chemistry is building, which is very nice. And then we see Jake and Loak seem to have an argument. We don't hear what's said, but he pushes Jake over. Maybe it's guessing something to do with Neteyam, who died in the second film. And maybe, Loak is challenging Jake a bit more in his decisions. Although I would imagine Jake is going to have a bit more respect for his son now after the second film, especially the ending of the second film where he saves his life in the destroyed sea dragon. That's what it's called, the sea dragon. So that's something to speculate over for a while. And then Jake says one of the most beautiful lines in the trailer. He says, "You cannot live like this, baby, in hate." And he's talking to Neytiri. So clearly Neytiri is obviously grieving and vengeful, for the death of her eldest son, understandably, and she has lost so much. And clearly their relationship is being tested in this one, which I think is natural, and it was only going to happen after the Way of Water. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And then we get a very good music track, which is a variation of the brilliant James Horner track from the first film, The Destruction of Home Tree. The one that goes da, 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 da. It's really powerful, and it gets me quite emotional, that piece of music. Quaritch enters the Mon Con with his hands in the air in a backpack. Jake is hugging Spider, and interestingly about Spider, his mask seems to be running out of oxygen, or it breaks, or something happens. And in the forests, obviously he's been wearing this mask ever since the Way of Water, and the events of this film happened directly after the Way of Water, so his oxygen supply is probably bound to have run out. But something happens that causes him to breathe Pandorian air, so he might become sort of a Na'vi human hybrid or something. That's what people are speculating. Or Kiri might well do something to save him, as she has AWA-like powers. And the true extent of that hasn't been explored yet, so I'm excited to see where that goes. Excuse me. And then we also see Ronal say to Kiri, "If there is something you can do, you must do it." So whether that refers to Spider, or maybe that refers to the baby, who knows? Maybe something happens with her baby. We don't know. But Kiri obviously has powers that can be used. So interesting. Then we see a really great few shots of Jake running through the Metkayina village, where most of it seems to be on fire, and he's running through the crowd, and then he sort of puts his hands over in front of Tonawari and says, "Stop, stop." So it's and then Quaritch, the RDA, and Varang. If you look closely in the shot, you can see them in the background. So it looks as though that is before the later shot where he's captured. So this might be him surrendering himself. He's sort of handing himself in to protect his family and the rest of the Metkayina, because then we see that shot of the I don't know what you call them, the spider crab thingies, the metal robot things that are clutching his chest, and they're all he's walking into the RDA, and there's a whole crowd of people I don't know, taking pictures of him, or there's loads of flashing lights, and they know that it's Jake. They've caught Jake Sully, who they've wanted to catch for some time. So that is really, really good stuff as well. There's more sea dragons. There's more shots of Quaritch and Varang. When Varang, the new character, who's the leader of the Mon Quan, she is amazing in this trailer. When she steps out of her tent, she has such a presence, and where she's like manipulating fire, and then the final line of the trailer where she says, "Your goddess has no dominion here." That is chilling. I got chills down my spine. I thought, oh my god, wow. Because Cameron always said that the Mon Quan or the Ash Clan are going to be antagonistic. So we know that Varang is going to be kind of villainous, and she obviously renounces Awa. And I think this is a great direction to go in, because this will add a whole new perspective on Awa, and it adds to the world building, because we've seen two cultures so far that worship Awa as their deity, but to have a clan that renounces that and to get a different side of that and a more destructive side, that is what I'm really looking forward to about this film, to see the different perspectives of the world and how their attitudes towards Awa are different to the Mekkain or the Ometakaya. So smart move on Cameron's part to flip it and change things around. And the clan themselves look really cool. They've got all this red and white makeup, and they look really like bloodthirsty and battle ready. And like I said, when Quaritch gets that makeup, that's amazing. That is really cool. I mean, I'm guessing there'll be elements of repetition of like learning the ways, and I think he will probably learn the ways of that clan. So that's my only concern, is that there could be some repetition again. And this is the third movie, so we do need to kind of be less repetitive. But it doesn't look like we're going back to the forest, and there's even shots where they're walking in the forest with Quaritch. So that's interesting. Maybe he is manipulating Jake and the children, or setting a trap or something, or maybe because Spider's dying or something, or Quaritch needs to be there for whatever reason, we don't know. And there's also fire arrows, and there's a big forest fight, which looks pretty cool. So it looks amazing. And then there's a whole shot of Neytiri saying, the children, when she's in a hospital bed and she's being hooked up. So she gets injured as well. So it seems as though stakes are even higher for this one than they were for the second film or even the first film. And one of the last shots, which I really like, is when Neytiri says, "We will find another way." She's clearly injured, and she's talking to someone. We don't know if it's Jake. We don't know who it is, but I am excited to know who it is. Oh, yeah, no worries, Harry. Someone was bound to leak the trailer early, but it was taken down straight away. But now it was obviously, by the time you saw Fantastic Four, the trailer was online, so that's fine. I did see this trailer in 3D when I watched Fantastic Four, so I was very happy. I was a very happy bunny. And then, yeah, we see the matriarch jumping out of the sea, a bit like Pajak. There's a badass shot of Jake and Neytiri walking forward, presumably on top of the Hallelujah Mountains, with loads of Ikran flying in the air in the background. And then there's an aerial battle which happens, which looks insane. And then the final shots, aside the Quaritch makeup stuff, which is really cool, is there seems to be a big fight on floating rocks with like ultraviolet in the background and fire. And I don't know where it is. It could be the Hallelujah Mountains, or it could be somewhere else. But visually, wow, this might be the best thing that I've ever seen in Avatar. And like, it must be part of the final battle, because Jake is wearing his makeup. Spider is breathing without a mask, and he's sliding down the rock. And it looks like Jake and Quaritch are having another skirmish. Unless they're fighting again for the third time. This time on top of big floating rocks. And Varang and Neytiri are firing. Well, Varang is using a flamethrower, and Neytiri's pulling her bow and about to fire. And then we see that teaser still that we had before. And then it ends with Kiri being held and Varang saying her line, which I've already mentioned. This trailer is epic. It is really epic. I know I've gone on for a while and talked about the little details, but there's a lot to speculate, and I'm really excited to see where this all goes. I really love the first two films. I think this is going to be very different. Maybe there'll be elements of repetition, but I think it will be quite different to the first two, which is what I really like. It looks darker, it looks more intense, it looks like they're flipping the perspectives on some of the cultures of Pandora, which I really like, but the visual imagery is still looks absolutely beautiful. Will it be the best of the three? Who knows? It's hard to say at this point, But my God, is it going to be an experience? I cannot wait to see this film. And Cameron, if it doesn't win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars, I'll be very surprised, because clearly they've put so much effort and time into making it look good. So yeah, but let's hope that maybe a few of the naysayers might come around this time. Who knows? Who knows? But if it's not for you, totally understand. No pressure whatsoever. But for me, I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. I'm looking forward to it. Also, recently I've been playing the Frontiers of Pandora game. Really good game. It's a bit fiddly with the controls, can be difficult. They're launching a third-person mode in December, so I'm definitely going to download that and play it in third person, because I think it would be better. Thing is, you play in first person, yet they want you to design your character in the beginning, and it's almost pointless because you can't see your character. Yeah, so whatever. But I'm up to the part where you can ride the horses. Really cool. Really, really cool. The story is what it is, but the experience of playing in Pandora is amazing. Much like the 2009 game for the first film, I don't play that for the story. The story sucks, but being in Pandora visually in the game is just it's amazing. It's the closest thing to being in the movie. So if you're a fan of Avatar, pick this up. It is a PS5 exclusive, so you need a PS5, but hopefully you will indulge. And if they make a sequel game, I'll definitely buy it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the trailer. I think this is a great trailer, and again, love the use of music. Really love the music from the first film. It's less than 5 months to go, something like that. What, five months? Yeah, December. Whew, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think Wicked for Good is going to come out the month before and do very, very well. So by the time that Wicked has been out for a month, hopefully Avatar can come in and rake in what it is intended to. I mean, the prices of IMAX 3D tickets nowadays are a lot. I mean, even though I have a cinema membership, I have to pay a certain uplift price for that. But for Avatar, it's worth it. But I'll probably end up seeing it a few times, because the experience of watching an Avatar film in the cinema is amazing. So it's worth it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you like more content, and stay tuned for more reviews in the future. So until next time, I'm Pajak's Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.